All right, let's try this one more time. How is that, everybody? Is that better on the audio? Is that less horrifying? Is that good? I see applause. I see good things happening. Somebody let me know that this isn't just clicks and pops. I know what I normally say isn't that interesting to begin with, but yep, looks like we're in good shape. I don't know what happened there, folks. Your guess is as good as mine. Let me do a couple of things here, since we're all kinds of messed up now. Let me refresh a couple of things. By the way, this is another edition. This is a Halloween edition of Grassroots Motorsports Live, presented by CRC Industries. I'm JG Pastor Jack. You are here on a very special night because we have some cool stuff going on from, let me make sure, oh, I can hear myself. Hang on, that's bad. Okay. We are in good shape. Let's go ahead and do it. I'm gonna take my shoes off. I'm just gonna sit here and weep for the future of humanity. Folks, here is what is going on tonight. We've got some cool videos from the $2,000 challenge, which happened just a couple of weeks ago in Gainesville, Florida. Most of the crew tonight is out in Las Vegas. They are at the SEMA show, the annual giant trade show that the entire auto industry shows up to there out in Las Vegas. A couple of us are still back here at the office, so we're not doing anything out in the shop tonight. We're just going to show you some of the cool stuff that goes on at the Grassroots Motorsports $2,000 Challenge, presented by CRC Industries and Miller Welding. And actually, funny you mentioned CRC Industries. They are also a supporter of this show. Not only our $2,000 Challenge, this here TV, internet, web sensation show. They are good friends of ours. They are fabulous people. We invite you to sample all of their products at a major retailer near you. Also, check out our friends from Autobooks, Aerobooks, autobooks-aerobooks.com on the web. Tens of thousands of books, magazines, DVDs, videos, collectibles, shop manuals, photography books, history books, everything from the history of the automobile, the railroad, boats, planes, motorcycles. They have it there at Autobooks. And if you can make it out there in person to Burbank, it is worth it because they are probably the best bookstore in the world. Also have great live events, author book signings, cruise-ins, cars and coffees, all kinds of cool stuff. Okay, here's what we are doing tonight. Let me, yeah, Rob says you can see my mascara running. I see our folks over on YouTube are reporting that our audio is good. So we are just going to go right into things. Oh, actually, before we go into too much, don't forget, this is social media. This is the way we get currency through social media is through those likes, through those shares. So if you are kind enough to do that for us, we really appreciate it. If you're watching over on YouTube, we would like you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got all kinds of content going up there every week. Great review, if I do say so myself, of the new Hyundai Veloster N we posted just last week. We're invited to the Hyundai Veloster N press launch. Very cool car. Go back on our YouTube feed and check that out. Okay, here's what we are doing tonight. We got three. Oh, thank you very much for sharing, George. And thanks for everybody who's watching tonight. Let's get right to the content because you guys don't want to see me sitting here looking dumb all night. We're going to start off with our friends Rob Ebersol and Steve Swiger. They were competitors at the $2,000 challenges here. They have been competitors for the last 3 years now in this same car. It is a Mazda Miata. They're going to tell us all about it here in just a second. I will launch this baby and we will get right into it. I'll be watching chat during this, and I think actually some of the car owners of the videos tonight are going to be joining us. So if you have any questions, throw them up in the chat on YouTube and throw them in the chat on Facebook. Might not get to them instantly, but we'll try and get to them once the videos are done, and maybe even while the videos are going on. So here are our friends Rob and Steve with their Miata. Enjoy, everybody. Steve Swiger, Rob Ebersol, Mazda Miata 2018 challenge car. This is what, the third time you guys have had this back here at the challenge. I gotta be honest, gentlemen. I am a fan. I am a fan of things that have a clear design philosophy and a clear sort of reuse of available materials, and that is a lot of what's going on here, obviously. So let's talk about it a little bit. What was there an intent behind building this thing, or was it just a pure crime of opportunity that ended in this? What were the origins of this thing?
It was a crime of opportunity. We started out with a rear-ended 95 Mazda Miata and just started cutting. And we knew that we wanted to do something that was a modern rat rod, and we were kind of going for a 32 Ford pickup, something like that. So when we started out the first year, it had a bed on it, but it wasn't much of a bed. If you looked at it sideways, it would bend over. So over the past couple of years, we focused on making it a little sturdier. So the bed's actually usable now, kind of holding to that philosophy of modern day rat rod.
And Rob, you're a graphic artist by trade, right. Actually a good one, unlike me though. And I'm sure you had some guiding hands in this thing. And you were several hundred miles away in Atlanta for the most part. I know Steve's in Tampa. Yes. You guys would get together and come down and work on it. How much design work did you put into it? And was it is this what you envisioned, or did you sort of see things along the way that took you in different design directions?
I think it was an evolutionary process in the beginning, and what basically we did is Steve was shooting photos, sending me photos. I was doing drawings on top, and it allowed us to come up with a design that we both agreed upon. And we would find parts, take photos of them, and try them out on the design to see what they looked like before we decided to go through the work of actually fabricating it. So I think that is one thing that really enabled us to work apart and yet come together and be able to execute something that we knew was going to work.
All right, so let's talk about the basic car from a performance standpoint. It's obviously a 95 Miata, and it's an inherently good autocross car to begin with. You guys performed very well in the autocross yesterday. Just as a performance machine, give us kind of a rundown of what's been done to it performance-wise.
Well, as I bought, as it was when we bought it, it had a 99 Miata motor, so an NB Miata motor, which is worth a little bit more power. We have a fully tunable aftermarket ECU in it that is open source, and Rob can speak more to that than I can. But that allows us to tune it a lot better than a stock ECU so that we can get more power out of it. On top of that, we were able to trade the stock suspension for an inexpensive coilover set, which helps a lot. And taking off a little over 300 pounds helped a lot too.
So what's the car weigh now?
I think last year it came in at 1690.
And Rob, tell us a little bit about, so we talked about the performance aspect of it, but there's a lot of found objects on there. There's a lot of repurposed objects on there. Tell us about some of the stuff that's been incorporated into the actual build that maybe wasn't from a Miata or was from a Miata but used in a very different way.
I think what we do is when we're looking around, we say, okay, a rat rod typically does it this way. So they use an old car shroud around the radiator, and then we think, Grassroots Motorsports challenge, how can we take that and do it differently? What's going to make this car look like it, but also different and stand out? And I mean, that's how we ended up with the wagon. And again, this is a lot of looking on Craigslist, looking at photos, swapping them back and forth. I mean, we took a doorknob that was left over from my house renovation, used that for a shift knob. We've got a used old can that we used for a tachometer housing, that's sitting on the dash. I think it's just we need this, what typically is done in a rat rod, and how can we do it differently?
And I know, so David Wallens, our editor, helped you guys out with the build a little bit, and he would send back pictures of what you were working on. I know there's an old shopping cart cut up in there somewhere, and some filing cabinets too. Apparently, you got access to a bunch of filing cabinets. Where is that stuff incorporated?
Well, filing cabinets are free universally because everybody takes them home and then realizes this is just another place to store a bunch of crap. So there are 2 free filing cabinets integrated into that. Pretty much all of the non-stock sheet metal is out of filing cabinets. The dashboard or corners out of one filing cabinet that have been relieved. The whole bed sides, The front are all made out of filing cabinet. Where we fared in after the doors, it's all filing cabinet metal.
And you did something creative in the back there where you created your bed, which has a drop-down tailgate that also repurposes itself into some downforce. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yes, that was kind of fun. When we started figuring out how to make the tailgate, we were working with filing cabinet parts. And when I made the frame, we were trying to figure out how to affix it. And we realized that we could affix it at the top and the bottom so that it could drop down with bolts in the bottom and go up with bolts on the top. And it's like the aha moment. Now we have downforce. So we configured it in the up position and built a tonneau cover out of scrap plywood that I had from a house project, and gives us some good airflow and some good downforce.
So you've spent some time on track in well-prepared Miatas.
Right.
How does this thing stack up as far as a driver to one of your old spec Miatas or IT Miatas?
I think that we lost some handling advantage because we cut so much off the rear, and we're still working on getting that back. We still need to scale the car. I think once we get there, we're going to have the advantage of a lighter car, and therefore the increase in performance power, and we'll also get the handling back.
So tell us a little bit about, Steve alluded to the programmable EFI system you have. Tell us a little bit about that. That's one of Fred's from New Zealand, right?
We have a buddy from New Zealand who wanted to build his own open source engine management so he could share it, other people could develop it. And I got in on the project when he first started on it, 6-7 years ago. He flew to the United States, drove 13,000 miles in a Volvo that he bought, visiting all his friends on the internet. And I flew into Tampa with him, and we started, this thing was built in a Tupperware container. We started working on it and developing that. And after that, I bought the hardware, put it in my Miata, got accustomed to it. And when we were looking for something to make some more power out of the stock motor, I said, this is perfect, because for us, the challenge is always opportunity to do something different.
All right, so what's next? This car's got a 3-year history at this event, and it sounds like you're going to continue to develop it a little bit. How much budget do you have left, and do you have ideas for that budget spoken for already?
We do. Right now, we're just under $1,300 in the budget, so we've got a pretty good amount left. We have some power adders that have been sitting on the shelf for a couple of years, because obviously when you start out with a challenge car, how can I go the fastest that I can? And then it becomes this progression of, well, yeah, we don't have time to do that this year, so we're going to shelve it. So we do have some really good go fast parts on the shelf, and we have some really good drag tires and wheels on the shelf, and we're really looking forward to going back to drag racing next year.
All right, so before we go, we've been doing this event now for 15, 16, 17 years, and the thing we always hear about the challenge is, well, it's bullcrap. You can't build these cars for under $2,000. It just can't be done. You know, there's too much technology in them. There's too much work in them. What's your answer to that? I mean, obviously you guys have done this for a few years now, and you've been to this event more times than that. So you're understanding the culture. So what's your response to somebody that says this can't be done for this little money?
I think that they need to realize that the Grassroots Challenge, the challenge has more than one meaning. It's not just the competition, but it's actually the challenge of building the best car you can within the budget. If you can't take that on, you need to go do something else. But I think that, if you look at that car, almost $1,300, look how it performs. I think it's a lot easier than people would imagine.
Yeah, Steve, is it that people don't realize that so much of the actual cost is replaced with just labor and ingenuity?
There's a lot of sweat equity in all of these cars. When you walk around the paddock and you see what people have come up with, and it's such a diverse competitor field that we've got every single year that I've been. I mean, it's everything from an old beat up BMW sedan that's got a gigantic V8 in it, to a rat rod Miata. To anybody that says you can't do that for $2,000, I say get $2,000 and put your money where your mouth is.
All right. And we're back. So that car to me is kind of one of the cars that defines what the challenge is all about. It's two guys that don't don't even live close to each other. Rob lives in Atlanta. Steve lives in the Tampa area. They get together a few times a year. They correspond via email and phone and messages with all these ideas. They get together a few times a year and just have these great weekends of building and wrenching and coming up with ideas and having fun and enjoying, this sort of improvisational quality to the build. And it's a lot of fun to see it in action. And the car is quick, and it's only going to get faster with power adders. If you want more information on our $2,000 challenge, go to 2000challenge.com, 2000challenge.com. I threw a link both in YouTube and here in Facebook, and kind of tells you all about the rules of the event and how it works, what the format is, and we should be able to announce a date for next year before the end of this year. It's going to be around the same time. It's going to be within a couple of weekends of this year, but we're waiting on a couple other schedules to get worked out, and we'll have a date for the 2019 edition of the Grassroots Motorsports $2,000 challenge. Let's talk about some of the companies that make it the $2,000 challenge possible. Talking about CRC, sponsor of the challenge for over a decade and sponsor of this show, folks. If you are going to Lowe's, Home Depot, O'Reilly Auto Parts, Napa, Advance Auto Parts, and you're looking for automotive chemicals, or you're looking for spray lube, you're looking for brake cleaner, you're looking for carb cleaner, fuel injection cleaner, and you grab the CRC. Actually, here's a can of white lithium grease I was just using before the show to quiet the squeaky wheels on this chair, because I sit here and I fidget, and because while we're running videos, I'm just back here sniffing glue and doing stuff. So I'm like fidgeting and doing stuff. I don't want there to be a lot of noise in here. So I actually I went and bought this because I love this stuff, and I love that they give a little bit back to our industry in the form of sponsoring motorsports like our $2,000 challenge, sponsoring shows like this one, and presenting lots of great content, not just great products, but helping out with this world we live in. So check them out at crcindustries.com. Even better, check them out at a retailer near you. Also, I want you to check out our friends at Autobooks Aerobooks. If you're a reader, if you know a reader, autobooks-aerobooks.com, tens of thousands of books, magazines, DVDs, shop manuals, photography books, anything from the world of motorsports, the world of transportation, the world of historic machinery, they have it. Also, a great place to go see car shows, great place to go meet authors of books, great place to go meet historical figures. Something going on there every week. If you can't make it out to Burbank in person, though, check them out on the web, autobooks-aerobooks.com. Let's get back to it. Yes, Vincent, thank you very much for the kind words on the CRC stuff. And folks, thanks very much to you tonight for giving us the likes, giving us the shares. That is the currency that this show runs on, and we definitely appreciate it. And appreciate you guys being here tonight on Halloween and hanging out and having a good time. Now, this next vehicle, it is I don't even know how to set it up, because it's taken many things that I loved about the 80s, sports coupes, and combined two of the best ones together. This is a Mazda Rotary, a Mazda 13B Rotary powered Porsche 944, one of the great chassis of the 80s, combined with one of the great motors of the 80s. And our friends at Carib Motorsport Club brought this to the $2,000 challenge just a few weeks ago, and we are going to show you all about that in just a second here. Let me get it queued up. Hey, did you notice we went from the spooky castle, now we're in a spooky cave. It's the miracles of technology will never cease to amaze me. All right, everybody's excited for this this Rotary. Yeah, Vincent says 2 boat anchors put together. You, sir, just wait until you meet these guys and check their car out, because it is very cool. So let's get hyped up for this next segment. If you don't mind, maybe take this opportunity to go subscribe to us on YouTube, or take this opportunity to throw a share out there if you're watching on Facebook, or just to throw a like down in the comments. Yes, Dinesh says we are slowly entering JG's dungeon. We're gonna speed things up here with the 944. All right, folks. Here is the rotary powered 944 of Carib Motorsports Club. Enjoy. These are, ladies and gentlemen, from the Carib Motorsports Club. We met you guys for the first time at the Midi at Road Atlanta. You're now here in beautiful Gainesville at our $2,000 challenge. First off, we want to talk about your amazing rotary-powered Porsche 944 back there. You've sort of taken every great thing about the 80s and mashed it into one vehicle, which is very cool. But tell us a little bit about the Carib Motorsports Club, and I know it's a lot of folks from various Caribbean islands that have sort of expatriated to the U.S. and are still kind of holding on to some of the fun and culture and enjoying motorsports in the U.S. as well as in the islands. So tell us a little bit about the club.
So the club started out as just basically as a F1 chat group, and but we were all car guys, and not just watching races, but we build cars. And one good thing about it's a bunch of Jamaicans. It's actually mostly Jamaicans, a couple of American guys, and one of the big things is that we build the cars, and we watch racing, we build cars, right? But and it's very diverse in terms of the types of cars. Right here we have a 944 with a rotary engine. We have club members with Porsches, club members with Mazda RX-7s. Unfortunately, guys with Nissans and Mitsubishis, Hondas. There's a Honda guy, you know. So it's very diverse in terms of the cars that we have, and actually in terms of the types of motorsports that we're interested in, it's also very different. Drag racing, autocrossing, road racing, just everything. We do everything as a group.
And it's a heavily participatory club too. You guys come out to our skid pad challenge at the Midi, you autocross together. So as many members as you have, are all of them behind the wheel at some point?
So yeah, I mean, most everyone has a car. Some of the guys, we have to really push them to get their cars out. You know, we still have a lot of guys that's like, man, I don't want to break my car. You know, I don't want to, you know, it's the autocross is too tough on my car, that kind of thing. And so forget about rallycrossing. Rallycrossing is like the most difficult to get people out, but there's still, this guy used to rally professionally in Jamaica. So, you know, so there's a lot of guys that we're very active, like you said. We've been to all your skid pad challenges. We kind of joke that we're like half the field usually. So
that's not a joke. It's the truth, man. You guys come out there and put on a great show.
And we actually did one of the other ones, the VIR, the Ultimate Track Car Challenge once. So I mean, we just love cars and we love watching racing. Actually, we're heavy into F1, and we're happy now because most of us are guys. Lewis Hamilton. We still have a few Tifosis, but you know, we have them on suicide watch right now. So, right, you know, so yeah, and you know, we're kind of mad that we're missing the Petit Le Mans, but you know, it's a good place to be right now.
So as long as we're here, let's talk about what you guys brought this weekend, which was basically taking Porsche's personal sports coupe of the 1980s and Mazda's personal sports coupe of the 1980s, mashed them together. So we have a 944 with the heart of an RX-7. Tell me a little bit about the history of this car. Was this the intent of this? Was this a crime of opportunity that the pieces made themselves available and came together, or was this what you guys set out to build?
Actually no, because like we said, when we different backgrounds and we got together. I did the 08 and the 07 and the 08 challenge. So when I got introduced to the group in 2014, I think, I started pushing the GRM events. And Raphael, he's the owner of this car. He's a Rotary guy. He's like, you know, look at his shirt back here. You know, I mean, he's a Rotary guy, right? So, but he always liked the 944, you know, because, you know, the connection, you know, people always say the second gen was influenced by this car.
So somebody said, we were talking about the car earlier, and somebody said, yeah, this was literally the pitch that Mazda went in to the boardroom with was, let's take what Porsche's done with the 924, 944 and put our motor in it and make the FC RX-7 basically.
Yeah, and I mean it was just made that way. And then the thing is, so he had the car, I think about 2015, right, and had a blown motor, and then he's a rotary guy, and then we started talking. But one thing though, I forgot, when we as a group, because I remember you said it's very diverse, right? We had actually kind of a back and forth on what motor we're going to put in there, 1.8T, because a lot of Volkswagen guys, and we even started trying to collect parts, and then it just kind of, just started. We were getting close to the challenge, and then I said to Rafi, hey man, you think we should just do a rotary, because these guys are not, because we had to have the Volkswagen guys be interested enough to, and then so we just said it, we're gonna do the rotary, and in 2016, we got it done. We got it done a little bit late for that event, but
Friday morning, Friday afternoon.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Like when you guys were autocrossing, we were on the road, or maybe even working on the car still. So
We actually did a lot better this year because we got here when the event started. So we did a lot better this year.
So tell us a little bit about what we're actually looking at here. It's a second gen 944 with the updated interior. What is the rotary out of?
85 RX-7, 13B.
Okay, so it's the and it doesn't sound like it's got any porting that's been done to it, but it does have a big turbo on it.
Like a GT30 eBay special, something like that. Yeah.
you have to be careful when you talk to these guys about a big turbo, because that is not a big turbo. To me, that's a big turbo, but not to these guys. I mean, they have a drag car that the turbo is literally bigger than the engine.
So when you start to pressurize rotaries, you start to have apex seal problems, and there's a lot of they take some boost well, but they don't always take a lot of boost really well on a stock bottom end, I guess that you would call it, or yeah. So has anything been done inside the motor to accept the boost, or are you just kind of hoping for the best and it doesn't have to run very long?
It's basically tuned conservatively, very conservatively. So if we wanted to make more power, the possibility is there, but it's turned down a lot, so that's what it is. It's coming to the event, being here, get back home reliably.
So how about packaging? The 944 is there's V8 swaps for 944, so you can get stuff in there. Does the rotary package in there fairly well? It looks like you got to do a little bit of firewall clearance. No. Okay. So what's the actual packaging like? How's everything fit?
The funny thing is that the rack and pinion didn't have any clearance to the subframe a little bit, just so we can mount the rack and pinion and everything. But the funny thing about it is that when I first got the car, we checked it. My main concern was how I'm gonna make the gearbox to the engine, and I used I got a RX-7 clutch right away and just tried it on the spline. I was like, oh crap, it works out perfectly.
So this still uses the 944 transaxle in the back with, wow. So what's your total investment at this point in the car? You guys still under budget? Still have some room?
Well, not much. I think we're at 1823. Yeah, 1823.
The paint was like $4, so you have to include the paint. So yeah.
Because basically we didn't really spend any more money on it from 2016. It's just to clean things up, because everything was there. It was just like kind of mashed together.
But let's talk about chassis a little bit. 944's got a pretty good chassis, but there's some weirdness there. It's got torsion bars in the rear, struts in the front. Have you guys done anything underneath to help handling that a little bit?
So again, so we have a 944 guy on the group. So he kind of gave some insight in terms of what needed to happen. And I'm telling you, I do not like cars with torsion bars. See, we have the holes on the side of the car, right? It's basically to pull the thing out, to rotate it, to change the ride height. So that's just too much to change the ride height. Yeah. So, but we did that, and the up front now it's more conventional strut. We got a coilover kit, and it's running the conies, and and it's been pretty good. I mean, we haven't really. I want to say I wish I could say we had 2 years to develop the car, but we didn't. The first time the car really ran was here, and in 2016 we did the autocross right after the challenge. But that's about it. So I think there's a lot we can do to get the car tuned and get it set up. I mean, with the big users on there and the weight of the car, I mean, it has.
It looked very composed on the autocross course yesterday. It looked like there were some power delivery issues just from stumbles, but when it ran right, it looks like it ran really, really well. So talk a little bit about 944 it's a Porsche, it's a budget Porsche, but it's still a Porsche, and it's getting a little bit trickier to find parts for them. Even I used to have a 944, and it was great, but anything it needed that was 944 specific was kind of expensive. You guys have eliminated a lot of that though with getting rid of a lot of the interior.
And it's funny because that's a big plus, because some dude paid us $1,000 for those seats, 2 seats, and then somebody else paid $250 for a radio, just the radio. So I mean, I don't think we tried to sell anything else. We just like, all right, forget it, you know. But again, knowing is important, right? Because when I put it up on Craigslist, I put it up for $200. The guy in our group, he went on the chats, and he got the wheels sold for the seats sold for $1,000. You know. So
the expense part actually, there's a little bit of buy-in there, but the recouping of the value that you're allowed to do under the rules kind of helps you out with these cars a little bit.
Yeah. And then, like I said, I don't think we've not really had issues. We had to learn about like spacers and because these wheels we got off of a 911. So I guess Porsche has 2 different offsets, you know, and if you have the wrong wheels, you got to put these humongous spacers on. But it didn't really do anything that it didn't really do anything to the handling.
To the handling at all, no.
So let's talk about goals for this thing. Obviously, it's been here before. It's back, you know, as strong as it's ever been in this event. What does success look like for this car to you guys? Is there a goal in mind, or is it just to improve the thing every year?
We're gonna win next year.
If we don't win this year.
And we're back in another spooky cave. Hang on, there's even more. Here's another spooky cave with a spooky handrail. It's a haunted handrail. You touch it and your wiener falls off. I don't know. Look, I got a confession, folks. We're not actually in a cavern right now. This is all it's all trickery. It's all bullcrap. It's all just Hollywood magic, and it's the best Hollywood magic you can buy for like $400. So let's actually, you guys want to see something awesome? Check this out. Okay, so here's what it actually looks like in here. And here, this is cool. This is my, come here, go. This is my my buddy Gosha. He's an eclectus parrot from Indonesia, South Pacific, and he is awesome because he is chroma key green. He's like Predator. That's the coolest thing ever. How cool is it to have a chroma key pet? I just think that's cool. Anyway, let's move on to our final terrifying feature of the evening. Chroma key bird. Look at that. Look at that. He just blends into the background. Okay. Like a floating candy corn. All right, final video of the evening. Thank you for spending Halloween with us, everybody. Thank you for enjoying yourselves. We got one more video. These are our friends from Rec Racing, Georgia Tech, runners up in their first appearance in a brand new car, defending champions of the 2017 version of the $2,000 challenge in a Subaru-powered Honda Insight. Georgia Tech has now retired that car. They've moved on to a brand new car. It is a V8 powered BMW 5 Series, LS3 V8 in a BMW E28 5 Series, I believe. And we're about to take a look at that. Let me check, see if we got any questions or yeah, Gregory says it's an electric handrail, spooky electric handrail. Okay, let's do it. We got one more of these things to suffer through, and you can get back to getting drunk and screaming at kids and pulling toilet paper out of your out of the trees in the front yard. So here are the fine young men and women from the Georgia Tech Rec Racing Team. Georgia Tech actually fields an official college team every year. They are one of the few colleges that has been back every single year. They've got a really well organized team, really great squad of young engineers, and you're basically looking at the future of motorsports when you watch these guys. So here is the Georgia Tech Rec Racing BMW 5 Series. This is the crew from Rec Racing, Georgia Tech's house challenge team. These guys have been coming to the 2018 challenge, or the $2,000 challenge, now going on a decade, I think. We're through sort of the third generation of Georgia Tech students that have been preparing and presenting cars for the Grassroots Motorsports Challenge. This is their latest iteration of the Rec Racing ethos. The Rec Racing presentation is a BMW 5 Series powered by a 5.3 liter Chevy LS V8, third gen V8, Ford Explorer rear end in this thing. And in yesterday's autocross was one of the most impressive, one of the, Alan McChrystal, our pro driver, came up to me and said, this car has the most mechanical grip of anything I have driven today. And, you know, Matthew, for one of our pro drivers to tell us that, that's got to be encouraging, especially considering this is your first year with this car here.
Absolutely. It was a huge stretch, you know, when you had big shoes to fill after the Insight one last year, and, you know, so we had to completely build this car from scratch in the last year. So to be able to come out here with a, you know, well-engineered car that we've been working hard on, and to hear feedback like that has been really encouraging.
All right, so tell us a little bit about Rec Racing in general. You guys obviously are the defending champions with your Subaru-powered Honda Insight, and they've now presented, you know, half a dozen or so cars for this event. It's an official part of the curriculum at Georgia Tech. You're just like the SAE team. There is a $2,000 challenge team. How does the team fit in with the mission of the school, and what are they teaching you at that school that you're building amazing 5 Series like this?
Yeah, so we are part of what's called the Student Competition Center, and so it's a spot on campus where all of the automotive-based teams are. So there's about 6 teams in there, and they range from SAE to solar-powered stuff, and then there's us doing our crazy thing in there. So it's just a spot where, you know, mechanical engineering students mostly, but it's actually interdisciplinary. I'm actually computer engineering, and I get to come work on cars, but we all get to, you know, mess around with SolidWorks, learn the machining, and just apply the stuff that they teach us in the classroom, you know, to a real car.
And part of the challenge for you guys, I guess, is there's students coming in and graduating. Maybe some of them are on, you know, the 5-year plan like I was. But you've got fresh faces there to introduce these concepts to. Do you try and plan the life cycle of the cars around that, or is there a different life cycle of the cars where the cars are just sort of developed until you feel they're done, and then as new students come in, you get them integrated as fast as you can with whatever project is going on?
Yeah, pretty much that. I mean, it really is hard to plan that far ahead, you know, when you're in this much of a rush. So the car kind of takes its own shape, and it kind of gets modified as per what it needs. So, you know, we come out and we test it, and, you know, it gets modified accordingly. And so, you know, people definitely can come in, new members, if they have great ideas, you know, they're pitching them to us, and if they're good, you know, they'll be implemented. But the car definitely follows its own path, I think.
So tell us about the 5 Series here. What was this what you intended to build, or was this just a crime of opportunity that presented itself as a good deal and you went in a certain direction with it?
Yeah, so it was actually presented to ourselves from a member's dad. He had a used car dealership, and it's just the way that it went. So we got the BMW, and we actually decided, you know, it'd be a great drag car, you know, long wheelbase, and relatively light. I mean, we're a little bit heavier than a stock Miata, so it's definitely was focused on drag, and so it's kind of just been a shock that we came out here and did as well as we did on the autocross.
Yeah, so we threw you for a bit of a loop this year. It turned out because of construction here at Gainesville Raceway, we weren't able to have a drag race this year. So we expanded the autocross portion a little bit. We had 2 separate autocrosses, a little more open, a little more traditional autocross format that an SCCA competitor would be used to. The competitors have now known about that for a couple of months. When you guys found out about that, did it change your development cycle for this at all?
I wouldn't say that it changed anything, because I mean we know how the challenge works, and we know you got to do good at both to win. So we're obviously out here to win. So the car was definitely already being designed to be able to handle the autocross. So it didn't change a whole lot. It was definitely disappointing because we had some big drag slicks we were looking forward to throwing on it and stuff. But it was pretty much just. We were actually happy because we need power adders in the future, and we weren't going to have any time to do it. So we figured if we were going to win with this car on the first year, this is the best chance we had with no drag.
So tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here. It started life as a 5 Series, obviously. The rear end has been heavily re-engineered with a solid axle, and the front end has been fairly well re-engineered as well. Tell us a little bit about what's going on under the chassis here to make it handle so.
Yeah, so basically we have the LS engine sitting in there, TH400 automatic, a Ford Explorer solid axle in the back. It's got a 3-link suspension with a panhard bar and some Coney coilovers in the back. So no sway bars front or rear, surprisingly. But just I think the big tires helps us a lot. In the front we have an E36 subframe, so we were able to swap over to rack and pinion, maintain all the factory mounts. We CNC'd custom adapter mounts to go into the frame rail of the E28 to hold all the E36 stuff. And we actually had full intentions of using stock E36 control arms, but the rear mounts, they're called lollipop mounts, we couldn't engineer a solution that was strong enough. They stuck out too far, so we actually have completely custom CNC'd like DTM style control arms. So the main bar that goes from the subframe to the hub, and then we have adjustable tension rods so we can adjust and dial in our caster on both sides. So now it's fully adjustable front suspension, rack and pinion, and then the coilovers in the back, and I guess it's just so light that it all works.
And motor-wise, it sounds like you guys are fairly mild this year. It's a 5.3 out of a truck. Anything was done in the motor for reliability, or just for peace of mind, or just to slap it in there and go?
We took it out, we looked it over, honed it, re-ringed it. Main bearings were fine as they usually are. I think it got new rod bearings, but it's factory ECU, factory wiring harness that was thinned out from all the automatic transmission stuff and all the emission stuff, and then just a straight pipe and an open filter on the top, and that's all she's got.
So if we had a drag race this year, what was your best guess as to where we'd be time-wise with this car as it sits?
Well, we figured that since the Insight had such a problem hooking up last year, and it was a little lighter, but it only made maybe 250 horsepower, that it ran a 13.5, so we figured this might see into the 12, like a 12.9 or a low 13 is what we were thinking for this year.
And let's talk about the future a little bit. We talked a little bit before we shot this that you guys have big power adders in the works for this, and it was stuff that was already sort of in the works for this year, but it sort of timed out. What's this car going to look like in year 2? Or what's your idealized version of this car for year 2?
Idealized version of year 2 is that we have a forced induction system with large turbochargers that are capable of producing enough power to...
Turbochargers, plural?
No, not plural. One big one. One big one out of a Caterpillar industrial equipment, actually. So it's that we'll be able to make enough power, hopefully, that we'll have to tune back so our transmission lives. And so hopefully greater than 500 horsepower and maybe breaking into the 10s, hopefully.
So what's the future for all, and this is just a small portion of the team that even came this week, and an even smaller portion of the entire student competition section at Georgia Tech. We know a lot of folks from SAE programs and eco-car programs that go on to work for race teams and tech companies and OEMs. What does the future look like for the challenge team at Georgia Tech? Have folks gone on to actually being in the industry from the challenge team?
Oh yeah, at the Student Competition Center, as you can see by our sponsor stickers all over the car, we're sponsored by the automotive industry a ton. So we have recruiters come out, and a lot of the students end up in industry, up in Detroit especially. But there's no limit on it.
So where are we at budget-wise with this car right now?
We are pushing the upper limits of it, but there are definitely some stuff that, since it was all done this year, we just kind of had to buy off the shelf and definitely take the expensive route. So we fit it all in, but there's some places we can trim to fit the rest of the supporting mods for our future plans.
And that's part of the challenge too. I would imagine is getting not just finding the pieces, but finding what works, and then maybe you find something that works one year, and then year two you find a cheaper way to make it. So first year car, we don't know all the results yet, but as of this moment, you guys are in the top 5 certainly. After the autocross, and it's a great looking car, so I'm sure it's going to do very well in the concourse. What does success look like for you guys? Is there a certain finishing position, or is there certain things you want to learn from this weekend? What's a successful premiere for this car look like to you?
Honestly, this car being here and not catastrophically failing is a huge success. So we're really happy. The chance that we get on podium, I feel like at this point is pretty high, and so we are absolutely stoked to be able to do that with a first-year car. And I think it's just proof that, all the hard work that we've been putting in, and we've been kind of changing our ways and trying to do things right and, really just be an engineering team is really paying off. And so we're going to put that to use next year.
Awesome. So by the time everybody at home is watching this video, we're going to know exactly where these guys finished. So let's shoot a quick triumphant whoop. That we just found out you guys finished high on the podium, right. and you're very excited. So yeah! It's not gonna be just me.
1, 2, 3.
Woo! And now, because we have to cover all the bases, let's do the despondent but hopeful sigh of we're gonna come back next year and we're gonna show everybody the way this is gonna go. So. Use your own motivation for this one. I'm not going to coach you through this at all. 1, 2, 3. See, he's yeah. All right. Big thanks to Rec Racing at Georgia Tech. We are honored and pleased that they have chosen to support our event every year for so long, and not just support it by being here, but support it by bringing cars that we think really help define the spirit of this event. It's great to host you guys, and it's always fun to see what you bring out every year. And I based on the results I've seen, I have high hopes for this thing even in its first year. So thank you very much to Rec Racing. All right. So first off, I apologize for the technical issues tonight. Thank you very much for sticking around through our whatever weird audio issue we were having when the show started. And now apparently my spooky background has changed into a Target. So I don't know what's but look, I'm sure it's a haunted Target. I'm sure you can't go into that Target without just getting murdered 4 times before you hit the floor. I'm sure the blood flows ankle deep through the aisles of whatever Target this is. So let's just assume it's the world's scariest Target. Folks, that is the show tonight. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks to Chris Tropia, our normal cameraman, who actually shot a lot of this footage at the challenge, and it was a big help having him there. Yeah, Greg says you cannot go into this Target without the Target dog biting. Actually, hang on, let me see if I can find another scary Oh, here's okay. Look, we'll end it up here. Here is the scariest place of all, folks. You guys ready for the scariest background of the evening? Here we go. It's the DMV. There you go. It's the I think this is like the Multnomah County DMV. And actually, this is we're looking at a live feed right now. That's how scary this DMV is. All right, who wants free stickers? Anybody want some free Grassroots Motorsports stickers? I throw, yeah, my buddy Gogo wants some free GRM stickers. If I see, I need to see a couple of likes in here. I need to see I need to see some folks making some noise on Facebook, making some noise on YouTube, and I will give you guys a link for free stickers. Meantime, let us talk about what we are doing next week. Don't know exactly, but here's some stuff we got coming up in the next few weeks. Gonna learn to TIG weld. I just bought a TIG welder. Never TIG welded in my life before. I'm a lousy MIG welder. I'm a lousy stick welder. So I went and bought a TIG welder. We are going to check it out maybe next week, maybe the week after that. And I'm very excited about that. It's going to be kind of, look, there's tons of great resources for TIG welding on YouTube. And I go to all of those. What this is going to be is, you're a dumbass and you want to learn to TIG weld. What are the first steps? That's going to be kind of what we're getting into. And is this really the right thing for you? So I'm going to waste $800 on an AHP TIG welder before you have to. So that's coming up. We're going to be string aligning another car very soon, doing a complete string alignment. We introduced the concept of string alignments in a previous show. We're going to go through and do the whole thing this time. We just sort of introduced it conceptually, and this time we're going to do the entire car, so that's coming up. And we got Andrew from Apex Pro, data analyzer, real-time data analyzer, goes in your car, very cool. November 28th, he's going to be here talking about data for your autocross and your race car. Awesome, awesome stuff. We got a couple of questions here. Dinesh wants to know if I'm going to the state championships. Nah, it does not look like I am going. So Young, hang on. Hey, whose show is this? This is your dad's show. Come here. It's Daddy's show. You sit up there and be Predator. You sit up there with the little candy corn beak. Yeah, Dinesh wants to know if I'm going to the state championships. I'm not. They're taking place next Sunday. Next Saturday is young Tom Sutter's wedding, and I'll be going to that. It's going to be kind of an all-day thing. There's the ceremony, there's reception and dinner, and just going to be really tough to make it to an autocross the next day. And really, you know, I mean, literally, I've known the kid his entire life. He's not a kid anymore. Him and his fiancée, his future wife, very nice people. And Tom is a great asset at Grassroots Motorsports, at Classic Motorsports. Want to be there to celebrate that with him, so I'm going to miss the state championships. I am going to probably be going to the National Council of Corvette Club event on Thanksgiving weekend at Roebling Road. It's a high-speed, what they call their high-speed autocross, which is basically single-lap time trials at Roebling Road. That's the event I'm kind of planning on doing right now. There's a couple other things in my life that are working their way around that, but I'm kind of assuming that that's going to happen because it sounds really fun. I've not run an NCCC event with the Corvette yet since I've had it, and I want to because they're a great club. Want to get involved in that club again. So that's what's going on there. What? So we got some folks that want some free stickers, and I saw a bunch of likes go up, so I will throw up some likes for free stickers. Here we go. If you would like 2 free stickers from Grassroots Motorsports magazine, all you got to do is go to the website I am about to put in the chat. It is going to be, yep, there it is, and I'm going to hit return. There it is. GrassrootsMotorsports.com/free stickers. Go to that website. You will be presented with some information to fill out. We're going to want your name. We're going to want your address because we send them to you in the mail. Duh. And we're going to want, I think, your email address as well. By registering for the free stickers, you are registered for our periodic newsletter. Let me tell you a little bit about what the Grassroots Motorsports periodic newsletter is. It is only stuff from us. We will never, ever, ever, ever in a million years take that list that you use to register for free stickers and sell that list to anybody. It is just for our use and just for us to send you those newsletters that come from us. In fact, 9 times out of 10, the return address will be the staff of Grassroots Motorsports, or Tom Sutter at Grassroots Motorsports, or David Wallens, editor of Grassroots Motorsports, or JG, who forgot his pants this morning, whatever, at Grassroots Motorsports. So that's the only thing that's going to come to you. And what is in those newsletters is actual content. There are some partners that we help out through helping get their message out, but we try and restrict it to, like, if it's a cool thing that we wanted to show people, we wanted to put like a new product section in the magazine and it got full, or this one came in a little bit late, newsletter is a perfect place to put that. If there was a feature sometimes that didn't make it in the magazine, the newsletter is the perfect place for that as well. So it is 95% of these newsletters is content, and it's content that you really can't get anywhere else. It's almost like a supplement to your subscription to Grassroots Motorsports. And there's also handy reminders about shows like this and upcoming events, and it's it's a great adjunct to subscribing to both or either magazines. So yes, Cody, Cody is mocking the predictable URL of the free stickers. The problem is that URL only goes live at certain times of the day and certain times of the week. So if you think you're smart, then you go to it like Tuesday or something, it's not going to work. It's going to take you to like sub-Saharan camel porn or something, and that's no good. So when we announce it, it actually activates for a while, and then you go in there and you get free stickers, get onto the list for the newsletter and for the free stickers. And I actually had a couple of Calvin says he loves the newsletter. Always good content in them. There is. We don't like to look. There's not enough of us that work here to hide behind each other when somebody sends out something crappy. Like if somebody sends out some stupid clickbaity thing that doesn't really prove anything or doesn't make people want to read it in any material sense, we're going to have to deal with it. There isn't like a layer of drones at keyboards that can deflect some of that stuff. It comes right to us, right to the people that wrote it. So we don't write stuff that's clickbait. Sometimes we'll write some stuff where we want to get a reaction. We want to start a little bit of stuff, but we're not just writing clickbait. But we want to garner a reaction. Look, we gotta put food on our plates. But once you get there, I want you to have good information. I don't want you to have some ridiculous listicle where everything is the same, and there's 2 sentences to a page and 38 ads. I'm never ever going to make you do that. It is good stuff. It is stuff that we want to read. It's stuff we do read. They send them over to our side of the building to proof them, and I sit there and read them because they're good. All right, I have done enough. Actually, yeah, Gregory said there was an article on distributor testing, and Calvin Jilek says he loves the newsletter, and Jalvin Kylek says he loves the newsletter, and Cal Jivel Nilek says he loves the newsletter. And all those guys, you can spell a bunch of names to those letters. They all love the newsletter. All right, gang, it is past my bedtime. I'm here at this poor lady has not moved at all. I don't think. I think she's scooted over a little bit, but she's still behind her. But this one has not moved at all because this one is filling out her form. I think what happened is she filled it out in cursive and gave it back to them, and they said, no, I'm sorry, you can't use cursive. And now she's using like draftsman lettering in each of her single fields, and it's taking forever. Okay, did I give you the free stickers? Yes, I did give you the free sticker link. It is grassrootsmotorsports.com/free stickers. Give me 1 second and I'll throw it in the YouTube chat. I got to do that manually. So what are we saying to the YouTube gang? It says 4 free stickers. grassrootsmotorsports.com/free stickers. Actually, that doesn't say that at all. Now it says that grassrootsmotorsports.com/free stickers. Here they come, YouTube. Here they come indeed. So we appreciate it. Cody says, thank you for continuing not to be jalopnik. We enjoy not being jalopnik. We don't always enjoy not having the tens of thousands of people interact with every single post on Jalopnik. But when you break down the percentages, if you've got 10,000 people reacting to a post, we'll have maybe, let's say we have 1,000 people react to a post, and they have 10,000 people reacting to a post. If 2 of ours are assholes, okay, and that's just math. That's how it's going to happen. Like 200 of theirs are going to be assholes, and it would technically it would be 20, but as they breed exponentially. So that's a lot of assholes to deal with. So I like the numbers. If one day we have these massive influxes of people, I will do my best to keep them all entertained, keep everybody on the same page, answer questions as fast as I can, keep the trains running. But it's still going to be this show. I mean, this is the only show that I know how to do. Let me see if I can get back to a spookier cave. Let's go back outside. I'm tired of being inside. Yes. Oh, spooky castle. Yes, spooky castle. So we just don't want. While we would love the eyeballs are fantastic. There is an eyeball butthole ratio that you have to maintain, and as the eyeball ratio goes up, the butthole ratio starts to close in on it. Right now, we are at what I would call a comfortable eyeball ratio, and we are at a near non-existent butthole ratio. There's a couple occasionally. They don't usually last long. Some of them we even know who are actually quite nice, but it's nothing that we really want to worry about at this point. We know as we increase the eyeballs, they just drag buttholes right along with them, and that's going to be it's going to be up to the folks watching the show to help be moderators, to help say, hey, look, I don't come here for this. That's not the kind of show this is. And it's going to be, you sir or madam, you are an optimal butthole, and I think you should dial it down just a little bit. So that's what's gonna go on in the future, because we do see the numbers climbing. Supra wants to know, do you get more stickers if you already got them? Yes, you do. That is why we only do the free sticker thing every few weeks. We don't mind sending you stickers every few weeks. We don't want to do it every week. If you start abusing the program, like maybe if you are registering for your 3rd or 4th pack of stickers, I can guarantee that you will get those stickers if you send along or email us a nice little photo of your car with previous stickers on it and say, hey, I've got 2 more cars that don't have stickers on them. Show show us what you're doing with the ones we already sent, and all that we care about. We'll send the same person 40 stickers. We don't care. We just want to know that they are getting to a good home, and that once they get there, whoever gets them can, in a reasonably intelligent way, explain to somebody else what they are, what it represents, what this culture we are creating here at Grassroots Motorsports Magazine, and especially at GRM Live, is all about. So, looking around one last time. Had a good crowd on YouTube tonight. Had a really good crowd on Facebook tonight. I appreciate all the likes, all the shares. One more check over there. This looks like the same thing, just backed up a little bit. I think we are good, and we did a 1 hour and 5 minute show. All things said and done. That was after our little audio snafu. So I will say good night to you guys. We will have Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross take us out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, for the good people at CRC Industries, for Chris Trapea, for Katie Suttard, for David Wallens, who are usually here. They are all out doing Halloween stuff tonight. I'm a one-man band tonight, and it's so much fun. We will see you again next week on another edition of Grassroots Motorsports Live, presented by CRC Industries. You'll be back next week to learn amazing things, maybe in the shop, maybe behind the desk, maybe there's going to be a car here. Who knows? Anything could happen. We're going to be welding in the next couple weeks. We're going to be string aligning a car in the next couple weeks. We are going to be learning how to use a data acquisition system. A very simple data acquisition system that mounts into your car in seconds and launches to your phone in just a few more seconds. It is a fantastically easy to use little dealie. So we'll see you again next week at 9 p.m. Eastern, and if you missed any part of the show, it'll be up on YouTube in just a few minutes, and it'll be on Facebook forever. And that's it. Good night, everybody. Let's get back. Let's see where we want to end up. Let's go back to the target. Yes, let's go back to the spooky target. We'll end the show in the spooky target, everybody. Ah, it's the spooky target. It's an irradiated target, everybody. All right, this is stupid. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Good night. Don't forget to tell your friends. If you like the show, 9 p.m. Eastern Wednesdays, right here at Grassroots Motorsports on Facebook, Grassroots Motorsports on YouTube, and then in perpetuity forever on YouTube. Thanks to Georgia Tech Rec Racing. Thanks to Rob Ebersol and Steve Swagger. And thanks to the entire staff of the Carib Motorsports Club out of Georgia and out of Jamaica for coming up to the challenge this year. We really appreciate it. And with that, I bid you, ladies and gentlemen, a fond GRM Live. A good night.